to his ute. He called Rosemary, who had gone sniffing about, and buckled her in once she'd jumped up onto the back tray. We climbed in, and Jack expertly reversed down the old track. It was much easier now, with the lack of trees and shrubs. "One day, Mr. Brighton, one day." "But not now," he said. I could feel his disappointment in the air between us. "A thing's not perfect enough right now." He looked from the road to me. "Yes, but they could be even perfecter." "Perfecter isn't a word." "Not yet it isn't, no," he said, "because you haven't said yes yet. Once you're living with me, it'll be a real word." I rolled my eyes again, but reached out my hand. He slipped his palm into mine, and I brought his hand to my lips. "One day. I'll hold you to that." I smiled at him. "I should hope so." We were quite a ways back to town. Then I asked, "So, have you thought more on what you'll do for the time off?" He was due to have 2 weeks' annual leave. It was winter, and it was the quieter time of the year. "Not really. Might just stay at home, get stuff done around the house. I think Remy and Nico were looking at doing some work around their house, though last I spoke to them, they weren't sure." Jack sighed. "Unless I could convince my super-hot boyfriend to maybe come away with me for a day or two. I know he's pretty busy with his work right now, and he's doing some pretty important things. Not to mention he's finishing up his doctorate externally because of his commitment to research. I haven't asked him yet, though, because I don't want him to say no." I was smiling at how nervous he was, and how adorable he was. "You should ask him." His eyes went wide. "Really?" "Yes. His work might be important, but so is his boyfriend. I doubt he'd say no," I said, playing along. Then I added, "And it helps that butterflies are typically dormant in winter." Jack's grin was huge. "Yes, that helps." "Jack?" "Yeah?" "You still haven't asked me." He laughed. "Lawson, come away with me for a day or 2, or 5, or whatever. We can go wherever you want. Melbourne to see your family, or to New Zealand for some skiing. I don't think skiing is really my thing, though I'm happy to stay at a chalet, drinking wine and reading books in front of a fire. I can be your official ski bunny." Jack laughed. "I've never had a ski bunny before." I lifted his knuckles to my lips for a smiling kiss. I did love being at Jack's house. It was peaceful there and felt like home. I did want to live with him, but the sensible part of my brain insisted on not rushing. If this was a permanent thing, and I did think it could be, then there was no need to risk moving in together before we were ready. And the very last thing I wanted to do was ruin what we had. Winter had well and truly arrived in Tasmania. The wind was biting, the clouds hung low, and the sun seemed like it was on half-watt. And I loved it. It meant big coats and scarves, boots and woolly socks. It also meant wood fires and blankets on the sofa, cuddles and sleepy TV, and stews for dinner. And Jack loved my lamb and dumpling stew. Like, devoured it all and asked when I could make it again, kind of loved it. So while he was chopping wood in the backyard, I set a fresh stew to simmer and made him a cup of tea. When he came in with his arms full of logs and kindling, his nose was red and his cheeks flushed. He stacked his burden by the wood fire and pulled his beanie off, and my God, he smiled at me in a way that made my heart stutter. I held up his steaming tea. "I made you a cup." He took the tea and sipped it gently. He hummed appreciatively. He put the cup on the counter, then encased me in his arms, giving me a hug. It made me hum. "I love it when you hug me like that." He nudged his nose to my ear. "Like what?" "Like it feeds your soul." He chuckled, warm and breathily. "It does." He pulled back and looked into my eyes. "That's exactly what it does."